Oh, you guys are great. All right, here we go. Oh, goodness.
All right, back to math.
Back to math. Let's go. Today we want to talk about parabolas. Parabolas, parabolas, parabolas. And parabolas have some important features about them. This one goes up. Anybody know how I determine whether or not a parabola goes up or goes down? Yeah, if A is positive, that front coefficient is positive, it goes up. If A is negative, it goes down. We okay there? This spot is called the vertex. The vertex is a coordinate. Here it's 1, -4. Does anybody remember the equation to find the vertex? The xy coordinate, we determine that by doing -b divided by 2a. I did not, but you learned it in your intermediate algebra class, and then again in algebra 2. Once you find the x value, you plug it into the function to find the y value. That looks confusing. It really is not too bad. When we go through it, you'll be good. The axis of symmetry is, it's a line, and it's a vertical line that cuts the parabola directly in half. So the axis of symmetry is x equals, because it's a vertical line, and it's always equal to the x value of the vertex. So -b divided by 2a. So I will be giving you the equation, and you don't have the graph. The y-intercept is right there. Anybody want to guess how I can look at the equation and come up with the y-intercept? Yep, it's this number right here on the end. It's your c value. So your c value is the y-intercept, so that's an easy one to find. And then the last two aspects that we want to talk about with a parabola are where it crosses the x-axis. This is the x-intercept here, and then this is the x-intercept here. So there we have those. We have those x-intercepts. We got two ways to find them. Notice that the y value is equal to 0 at those spots. The height is 0. So what we do is we set the equation equal to 0. And we factor. So when you look at our original equation up here, can somebody factor this for me? Yep, I got x and x. I got 3 and 1. -3, +1. So what would you plug in to make 0 here? -1, right? -1 + 1 is 0. What would you plug in to make 0 here? 3. So look at where it crosses the x-axis. +3 and -1. See that? So factoring tells us the location of those x-intercepts. If it doesn't factor, then we have to do something else. We have to do -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So our goal today is to do 2 problems, and we'll do 2 more on Monday, and get you guys situated with feeling confident with parabolas. So I don't know why I put this first part on there. We just want to identify the vertex, direction, x symmetry, y-intercept, x-intercepts, and sketch the graph. So we're going to start with the easy parts, okay? Let's start with the direction. What's the direction? How come? Because x squared is positive. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the y-intercept. Remember, if we have y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, c value is the y-intercept. And what is the c value here? It is 0. Those are the two easy ones. We find the vertex. What is the equation for the vertex? So what is negative b? Negative 2 over 2. And you get? So in order to get the y value, I take the x value and I plug it in. Negative 1 squared, 1 plus, what's 2 times negative 1? And 1 plus negative 2 is? Negative 1, very good. The axis of symmetry is not a number. It's an equation for a line, and it's always x equals the x value of your vertex. Let's start to plot some of these pieces. It's going to get cold outside. Tomorrow's like a high of like 20 or something like that. Temperature is supposed to drop throughout the day. I'll make a fire when I get home. I'm usually pretty good with fire. Negative 1 is the x, or is the vertex. The axis of symmetry goes right through it. What's the direction of the parabola? Is the vertex above or below the x-axis? Below. So if the vertex is below the x-axis and the direction is up, does it have to cross the x-axis? Yes. Suppose the direction was down, would it have to cross the x-axis? No. So this will have x-intercepts, but there are times that we would say it doesn't have x-intercepts. We know it will here. How do we find them? Simple. We take the function, we set it equal to 0, and we factor. The first rule of factoring is to identify a common factor. Is there a common factor you can remove? We take out the x, we get x plus 2. So this will tell us where it crosses the x-axis. What would you plug in to make 0 there? 0. And what would you plug in to make 0 there? Negative 2. So what that means is it crosses the x-axis at 0 and at negative 2. That's our graph. What? I need a specific question. Okay, so I'll ask the question for you. How did I come up with the graph? Here's how I came up with the graph. The x-intercept is 0. Do you see how I got 0? Do you see how this factors? So if it factors to this, what would you plug in to get 0 for x? 0. What would you plug in to get 0 here? Negative 2. So then I plot both of those on the x-axis, and it gives me my shape. Better? Okay, good job. We try one more example. I led you through that. Now you lead me through this. Where do you want to start?
Y-intercept.
What is the y-intercept? Good. I like the way you roll. And it goes up. Good. We got direction and we got y-intercept. How do I do the vertex? Negative b over 2a. So what would negative b be? Positive 8 divided by 2, which is? So 4 is the x value of my vertex. Once I determine the x value, what do I do to determine the y value? Plug it in. And this is where this is probably the most common mistake people make. They don't plug it in correctly. 4 squared is minus, what is 4 times 8? And then plus 7. So that's what I need to calculate. 16 minus 32 is negative 16, is negative 9. So I'm going to plot that. I'm going to make a graph. And I'm going to put tick marks of 2. So I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Why did I make the graph? What do you think I want to do? What could we put on the graph? The vertex, 4, negative 9. So each one of these is 2, so I'll go over 4 down to negative 9. Yeah, let's draw that axis of symmetry. So the equation for the axis of symmetry is always x equals the x value of the vertex. The X-Intercepts. How do I do that? 0 equals x squared minus 8x plus 7. Does that factor? Yes. Minus 7 and minus 1. So 7 and 1. There's another point I haven't put up here yet that I could. It's the first thing we started with. The y-intercept crosses up here at 7. And because you know it crosses up here at 7, you could reflect it over the axis of symmetry in order to get another coordinate right over there. Notice I have 5 points now that I can use to construct my parabola. And if one of them doesn't match and seem to work with the parabola, then you know you've made a mistake. Basically. So what I want you to do now is take out your worksheet.